motherfuckers told me I could never walk again. You know what they told me? They told me this opportunity wouldn't be possible. You know what? I'm gonna do this shit.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do it.
Exactly.
Believe that.
The story of Daniel Jacobs started in a tough neighbourhood of Brownsville, Brooklyn, that was home to such boxing greats like Mike Tyson, Shannon Briggs and Zab Judah. With streets full of crime and drugs, Jacobs chose boxing as his way out. When Jacobs started boxing, he quickly rose through the amateur ranks, earning the nickname the Golden Child. And when Jacobs finally turned professional, his talent began to catch the eye worldwide.
Not the likes of Danny Jacobs so far. And now Jacobs is unloading the kitchen sink.
Early on in his career, a lot of people viewed Jacobs as the next superstar at middleweight, as Jacobs was able to rack up 20 straight wins before he faced off against fellow undefeated fighter Dmitry Pirog for the vacant middleweight title. And this is where the hype around Jacobs came to a sudden halt, when he was knocked out by Pirog on the 5th round.
Oh, down goes Jacobs on a perfect right hand, and that may be that.
Following the defeat to Pirog, Jacobs would then make a trip to a US tour of Iraq. The trip was meant to be used as time away from boxing, but what was about to unfold was completely unforeseen, as Jacobs became unwell and was rushed to a doctor who diagnosed Jacobs with osteosarcoma, a rare form of bone cancer. Doctors would then perform a 6-hour surgery to remove a handball-like tumour that was wrapped around Jacobs' spine and was slowly causing paralysis and most of all stopping Jacobs' heart. Jacobs went from a world-class boxer to someone who became immobile. Jacobs would then enter into the hardest fight of his life when he went through 25 rounds of chemotherapy and most of all going to rehabilitation to learn how to walk again.
Doctors told me, you can forget about boxing. They're telling me what I couldn't do as just another challenge, as another opponent. And I knew I was going to do any and everything it took to get back.
You know what the told me? The told me I could never walk again. You know what they told me? They told me this opportunity wouldn't be possible. You know what? I'm gonna do this shit.
Exactly.
I'm gonna do it.
Exactly.
Believe that.
It's over.
Believe that.
Following his historic title win, Jacobs would then put his name on the map when he brutally stopped undefeated former middleweight champion Peter Quillen in the 1st round.
Jacobs doing a great job. Vicious right hand. Quillen on inline skates, and the referee has already stopped the fight.
Jacobs would then face off against the monster of the middleweight division in Gennady Golovkin, who was on a 23 straight knockout win streak going into their contest. Many observers watching from ringside and at home merely viewed Jacobs as the next name to succumb to Golovkin's power. However, that wasn't going to deter Jacobs on this given night. The two would start off the fight very tentative, with both men wary of the other one's offense, until Golovkin's power revealed itself in the 4th round.
Hard right hand by Golovkin. Down goes Jacobs.
This was only one of many knockdowns that Jacobs kept getting up from in his life.
Right hook by Jacobs, left hook by Jacobs, firing back and answering everything Golovkin throws. 2 rounds to make history. Need a man that's strong, just special. Let's go. Middleweight championship of the world on the line in a packed Madison Square Garden, and the local kid climbs off the deck and does this. They walk in the floor. Tremendous fight.
Win, lose, or draw, Danny Jacobs is a winner tonight, no matter what the judges say.
For the winner by unanimous decision, Triple G.
I thought I won the fight, but this is boxing. You have to take the good with the bad, the pros with the cons, and that's exactly what I did.
Jacobs would then go on to defeat unbeaten top middleweight contenders Luis Arias and Maciej Sulecki before facing off against Sergey Derevyanchenko for the vacant IBF title.
He should be a 3 or 4 round specialist. Oh, good shot.
And the setup is big right hand.
Good left hook for Derevchenko. Sets up a right hand over the top.
Or even as he landed it.
You see the right uppercut. With left uppercut first right there off Derevchenko. After he skipped the hook.
And Derevchenko had the momentum for a moment.
Good right hand to the body by Jacobs.
Good left hook. Yes.
Derevchenko get over.
Exactly. He lands another one inside. And another one. And suddenly Derevchenko has found his left hand. 30 seconds to go in the fight. Across the top. Max Derevchenko's landing to the body at a moment when he needs it. Derevchenko with a left hook upstairs. Right hand. Hard right hand by Jacobs.
Jacobs would go on to capture the IBF title and move on to the biggest fight in boxing.
Canelo Alvarez, now the unrivaled boxing superstar at the pinnacle of his success, will face
the Miracle Man, Daniel Jacobs.
Let's go.
Canelo Alvarez defending against Daniel Jacobs.
Canelo's defense and power appeared to be the deciding factors in the fight early on. While he didn't do a ton of damage to Jacobs, Canelo was still landing the more impacting shots of the two. Jacobs did have his moments in the fight when he appeared to hit Canelo with a left hand in the 8th round, but the rugged Mexican shook it off and stuck to his game plan. Jacobs would then elect to switch to southpaw in the second half of the fight, and this paired with his pumping jab appeared to give him many moments of success. Despite Canelo's pace slowing down in the second half of the bout, Jacobs was unable to erase the early lead that was set by Canelo. Canelo would go on to earn a unanimous decision and unify 3 of the 4 middleweight titles, 2 judges scoring the fight 115 to 113 and the other had it 116 to 112, all in Canelo's favour. Jacobs was able to put up a game effort in the fight, but it was simply not enough to match the brilliance of Canelo on this night.
All 3 scores go to the winner by unanimous decision. Now